more that, especially on the right, not so much on the left, but especially on the right, there seems to be this embargo against learning. Not sending my kid to a college where some professor can fill their heads with his revisionist nonsense. What about just learning? What about, the fact that there's joy in learning? What about the fact that there's power in an education? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be stunted by crippling debt for the rest of your life, but you don't have to be. You can just go get an education that can serve you moving forward. I'm not sending my kid to some liberal arts college so they can pay a fortune for a worthless degree. Well, and then talk to your kid about, what's going to serve them moving forward. Don't let them take a bunch of underwater basket weaving classes. You're still their parent. You're the one paying the bill. Talk to them. Be involved in your kid's education. At what point did I don't have an education become something that we were proud of? I mean, it's cool if you're self-made and everything, and, there's a long list of billionaires that dropped out of college. But at what stage in the game did we start actively discouraging people from learning? And how did that become part of the political rhetoric in this country? I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. Call me a dreamer. But I always thought learning in any way, shape, or form is a positive thing. When you learn stuff, you become more of a person. You become a better person. You become more learned. At what point did being learned become something that was scoffed or mocked? I don't know. I do know this, though. Like I said, you're going to be asked to check your individuality at the door when it comes time to participating in our version of democracy, and you should not do that. Never let go of who you are. Never let go of knowing where your moral compass points. Never let go of knowing where your moral compass's true north is, and never let go of following that. No matter what your friends, family, relatives, a politician tells you, to thine own self be true. I mean, unless you're a scumbag. But, assuming you're a good person, which I would hazard a guess you are, to thine own self be true. Know yourself. Be faithful to yourself, the principles that matter to you. Because if it feels like you're being coerced into voting for someone that you don't have confidence in because of the fractured two-party system, although we do have some fringe wackadoos that seem to have a real shot this time out. So you never know. This might be the end of the two-party system, but they're still running on the Republican ticket, it would seem. But whatever the case may be, don't let go of who you are. Don't be forced into this amorphous mob of joiners as we look down the barrel of the election in 2016. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Mark Twain. Alrighty then, Funkhauser, let's look at what's going on in the world before we get into principals beating their teachers. Time for My Witness News in no way, shape, or form balanced. Certainly not fair. Funkhauser, what's going on in the world, and how are you?
Balanced, certainly not fair. I'm doing good. How are you?
Wait, did I say it was balanced?
You said you switched balance and fair in that sentence.
I said in no way, shape, or form balanced and certainly not fair.
Yes.
Well, no, because usually we say in no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. I think that, I think the overriding way the defining quality to how we look at the news is it's not fair. So perhaps we should just be the unfair news going in. I think I inadvertently swapped position of fair and unbalanced, or unfair and unbalanced. But I think, I think the emphasis should be placed on the fact that we're not fair. We judge.
We have a microphone and you don't.
Right? Yeah. Oh God. You see that thing we talked about the other day that Jerry Seinfeld said about where entertainment was going? Mm-hmm. He was like, we have an enormous garbage can for viewer-generated content. It's called YouTube, and we're trying to do something a little bit better. He's like, call me old-fashioned, but I think show business should be for people with talent. And I was like, yes, freaking men. And I don't need to be put on a pedestal. I don't need to. I'm not trying to discount how other people feel or anything like that. But I do oftentimes get on the air. And then you just have to deal with people having instant ways of feeding back to you. You know, you got like every form of social media, and people let you know how you feel about what the hell you said almost immediately, and that sucks. Like I like having contributors to the show on Twitter and what have you, but it's when idiots that haven't worked the last 15 years of their life try and tell you how to do your job as a broadcaster that I wish we could take away that option. Because you know what? This is the business of show. This is entertainment. Make no mistake about it. And entertainment is for people with talent. So, if you've got crappy things to say about what we're doing on here, yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's a little old-fashioned. It's a little antiquated. And it's not like I'm pissing on our audience, because I love our audience and I love the people that contribute. But if you're just a mindless troll that did, one semester of broadcast in college and then failed to have the cojones to go into broadcasting and risk it all by essentially living on tacos for the first 5 years of what is, note the sarcastic air quotes around this word, around the first 5 years of your career. If you didn't have the nutsack to go do that, shut up. Go back to your 9 to 5, eat one. And by one, I mean mine. Yep, that's how I feel about that. We have a microphone and you don't. It's a crappy thing to say, and I do want to clarify that I'm not talking to the people that contribute to the show. And you can contribute by disagreeing. Well, it's just when you're a pointless, mindless troll that I wish death upon you and your family. All right, go on.
Yeah, you got a problem? You got Twitter.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. walked out of an interview when asked about his troubled past.
Yeah, saw that. When will journalists learn not to bring up Due Date? That was a bad movie. On the trolling thing, I actually had a very interesting experience the other day, and this has nothing to do with the news, but this one dude, he was trolling someone, not me. He was trolling other people, sort of like online on my various pieces of social media. And I was like, hey, these people that you're being mean to, they're, my supporters, in some cases my friends, and, I don't appreciate that. So don't do that. Be nice. Be cool. And I wound up shouting him out on the radio, and he was like, man, he wrote me this long thing where he was just like, I'm so sorry I did that. I didn't, hold on, here's his email. I didn't realize how bad of a troll I'd become, and it's crazy because in real everyday life, I'm the nicest person you'll ever meet, hands down. But on YouTube especially, I bully people and I talk S. I am never going to do that again. Thanks to you, you changed my outlook on life and how the internet is no different than real life. It sucks that, and then he talks about some personal stuff with a girl that won't talk to him about him. And, people troll
it's
because
always about
they're
a girl that won't talk.
Yeah. Well, people, I pointed out to this guy that people troll because they're looking for attention and a reaction. When we get a notification on whatever form of social media it is, our brain releases a little hit of dopamine, and that gives us a little bit of a high. And when you're trolling people, when you're being nasty online, you're just basically going, oh, for the love of God, please pay attention to me. And that's pointless. So just be cool, and we will pay attention to you.
USA Headline News. I'm Kelly Sloan. Defense Secretary Ash Carter says he's concerned that Iranian ships heading toward Yemen may be carrying advanced weapons for the Houthi rebels who have taken over many parts of the country. This is happening as the Iran nuclear talks enter a second day in Vienna. But Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse told Fox News the Iranians can't be trusted to hold up their end of the deal.
Iran is the world's largest state sponsor of terror, and they're trying to destabilize at least 5 of their neighbors.
He believes a better deal needs to be made, or the result will be an arms race in the Middle East. President Obama just held a press conference to express condolences to the families of 2 humanitarian workers accidentally killed during U.S. anti-terrorism drone strikes in Pakistan.
And that determination to protect innocent life only makes the loss of these 2 men especially painful for all of us.
The 2 were being held hostage by al-Qaeda. One man was American Warren Weinstein and the other an Italian national. This is USA Headline News.
Have you ever had a piece of chocolate cake call you into the kitchen? Has the Dairy Queen sign ever forced your car into the drive-thru lane? Have you ever had a bag of chips dive off the counter right into your hands? Hi, how in the world are you anyway? I'm Andy Willoughby, speaking for the ILikeHowILook.com website. Chances are, at some time in your day, you have been and will continue to be the victim of cravings. ILikeHowILook.com website realizes that you can't hide in your closet all day just to avoid snack attacks. That's why they recommend the 10-2-in-a-chew weight loss system. 10-2-in-a-chew offers powerful, natural appetite suppressants to put cravings on the run. To see a video explaining how it works, just go to ILikeHowILook.com. They will send you a free sample. Most people notice a difference the very first day. It's much easier to lose weight without those sneaky cravings, so watch the video at ILikeHowILook.com. That's ILikeHowILook.com.
It's trending.
In the NBA playoffs, it was the Spurs beating the Clippers in L.A. 111-107 in overtime. Tim Duncan had 28 points and 11 rebounds as San Antonio evens that series at a game apiece. The Hawks knock off the Nets 96-91. Atlanta takes a 2-0 series lead. And the Grizzlies beat the Trailblazers 97-82. Memphis leads that series 2-0. In the NHL playoffs, the Ducks move on.
Promotional sweeps it away. The hockey game is over, and the Ducks have swept the Winnipeg Jets 4-0 and move on to the second round of the Western Conference Stanley Cup playoffs, their fourth sweep in franchise history.
Fox Sports Prime Ticket with a call of the 5-2 win for Anaheim. The Rangers beat the Penguins 2-1 in overtime. New York leads that series 3-1. Blues all over the Wild 6-1 to even up that series at 2. And the Senators avoid elimination with a 1-0 win over the Canadiens. Montreal still has the 3-1 series edge. In baseball, the Mets beat the Braves 3-2. That's 10 straight wins for New York. I'm Eddie Garcia.
We are Fox Sports. iHeartRadio shines the spotlight on Steve Winwood. Blind faith staples, such as Can't Find My Way Home, continue to rank among Winwood's finest achievements. In 1970, Winwood reformed Traffic and guided a highly successful run founded on such popular albums as Low-Heeled, Spark of High-Heeled Boys, and Shootout at the Fantasy Factory.
No matter what they say, no matter what they do, gonna end up in the middle of that rock and roll stew, and I'll be down, down, down.
By 1975, Traffic splintered as the allure of solo projects and new creative partnerships proved too tempting to resist. 1977's solo debut, Steve Winwood, signaled a bold new artistic direction. Beginning with Traffic and extending through such landmark solo albums as the Grammy Award-winning Back in the High Life and Roll With It, Winwood has nurtured a restless creative spirit, mining rich musical traditions such as Delta Blues, English folk, R&B, and West African Calypso, and merging these influences within his own unmistakable sound.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Steve Winwood and all your favorite artists.
You know that the ice cream scoop can make a child smile, and that by slowing us down, the traffic light can keep us going. You know that the lawnmower makes life easier, that the blood bank makes life possible. But did you know all these ideas came from the minds of African Americans? Support the United Negro College Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Visit uncf.org or call 1-800-332-UNCF. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Go ahead, favorite the show, and enjoy AD on the go. iHeartRadio presents AD.
Yeah, buddy, rolling like a big shot. Chevy tuned up, not unlike a NASCAR pit stop. Welcome to the show. If you're just getting here today, we discuss the pros and cons of principals paddling their teachers in front of students, I think is how this happened, how this went down. Anybody else go from 6 to noon when they heard about this? We don't know if they're male or female. We'll get into the whys and wherefores of the story shortly after we roll through the news. Funkhauser, let's continue.
You're righty. I tell you about Shatner?
Will the Shatner?
There
No,
is
you
news from William Shatner. William Shatner is... No, it's not. Good enough,
It's
though.
okay. I mean, I knew who it was. Like, you didn't have to qualify that this was a story about William Shatner. Like, if you did that, I'd be like, oh, he's doing William Shatner.
It's all
good job
about the time.